In the manga industry, Jump is the inescapable colossus that nobody with an interest in manga, and anime as well, can escape. Jump makes up so much of what we see and hear about as anime and or manga fans, it seems every other hype title hitting the scene has some association with Jump or Shueisha. By the sheer cultural influence as well as sales figures, Jump seems to be an undisputed champion in the industry by far. But I don't really take a lot of time to consider its competition in the manga industry, and what they produce. Now of course the main competitors I'm talking about are Weekly Shonen Magazine and Gangan Magazine. Now speaking of Shonen Magazine, it's actually older than Jump, being formed in 1959. It was a big hitter until the 1970s when Jump knocked it off its perch until about the late 90s when Shonen Magazine started competing with Jump again. It has a similar cultural and historical significance to Jump because of its age and its competitiveness with Jump. The current big titles for Shonen Magazine are Nakaba Suzuki's 7 Deadly Sins, Hiro Mashima's Fairy Tail, Tsuyoshi Yasuda's Days, the manga adaptation of Yoshiki Tanaka's famous novel series The Heroic Legend of Arslan, illustrated by Hiromu Arakawa, Hajime Isayama's Attack on Titan, and George Morikawa's Hajime no Ippo. Now these are only ones that I myself recognize, so forgive me if I'm leaving any other big ones out. While past or concluded major titles include Ashita no Joe, Kamen Rider, Great Teacher Onizuka, and Brave. And there's also Yamada and the Seven Witches, which ended just this year. Now on to Gangan Magazine, the youngest one of the bunch, being formed in 1991 but making waves on the manga and anime industry ever since. Now Gangan is by no means a small publisher. It's a part of Square Enix, which is a huge company. It isn't corporate enterprise versus the people, it's big corporation versus big corporation. But again, judging by cultural influence and sales, Gangan is the smallest publisher of the bunch. Either way, I've overlooked these guys as of late. I've actually made the dumb mistake of mistaking a few major Gangan titles for Jump titles. Just because of similarities in style and content, I automatically assumed if it has certain characteristics, and it's good and or popular, it's Jump. But Gangan has published several titles which have been praised very highly in the manga and anime community. I won't discuss which publisher is better, but I'll simply be listing the well-known manga that Gangan has serialized, such as the giant Full Metal Alchemist created by Hiromu Arakawa, which was serialized in Monthly Shonen Gangan from 2001 to 2010. Or Atsushi Okubo's Soul Eater, which was serialized from 2004 to 2013. Yana Toboso's Black Butler, published in Gangan's monthly G Fantasy, which has been running since 2006. Or Kare no Takatsu's Working, which ran from 2005 to 14. Yasunobu Yamauchi's Daily Life of High School Boys, which ran from 2009 to 12, is also a Gangan title. And Takahiro and Tetsuya Tashiro's Akame ga Kill, which ran from 2010 to 16, is also published by Gangan. Now as you can see, all the titles I mention here, regardless of how you feel about them, are popular and relatively well known in the manga and anime community. Because of characteristics typical of Jump manga and anime, such as comedic style, use of tropes, and the approach to action, I mistook some of these for Jump titles until very recently. And also, to be fair, there are probably other original manga that are well known or popular that I've missed, so feel free to let me know in the comments. Either way, mangaka under Gangan have produced some of my favorite titles in anime, such as Full Metal Alchemist, Soul Eater, Black Butler, and Watamote. And because of a mixture of Jump's influence and my own ignorance, I mistook some of them for being a part of Jump. But it turns out that Gangan has a much bigger footprint on anime and manga than I initially thought. Gangan even deals in turning other works of media and literature into manga, such as several adaptations of Square Enix popular Final Fantasy and Kingdom Hearts franchises, as well as adaptations of the Zelda franchise, and even bringing Ryogo Narita's popular light novel Durarara and the popular games Corpse Party and Fire Emblem to manga form. Now I wanted to shed some light on this because until very recently, I was under the false impression that Jump was leaps and bounds ahead of its competition. But it turns out that it shares the market with other large and influential publishers. Jump is still king and that can't be disputed, but what can be disputed is that they are unchallenged for their title, and it turns out they aren't the only fighters in the ring. So if you keep up with manga or the anime that are based on them, I recommend you keep a lookout for what Gangan is publishing, or what they're about to publish, because these guys have proven to be able to catch our attention. And at the same time, to not count out Weekly Shonen Magazine, because they've managed to stay relevant despite Jump's seemingly overwhelming rise to prominence. That said, if there are any other major manga publishers that have produced many good or popular works, let me know, and I'll consider covering them in a video. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks and take care.